Hello Marvel Heroes fans, as you probably know me by now, my favorite pastime is to learn the hero and explore the gear of what's available for the hero and share with you here. But I'm only human, so sometimes I do have favorite heroes, sometimes I may not have, but I'm very conscious of the fact that every hero has his or her own fan base. So, I'm trying to be as objective as possible, do my best on, all the heroes. Be I like it or not, I still do the best for you guys. When it comes to Hawkeye, right? So Hawkeye has been probably the least favorite heroes within the player base for a long time. You can read it in forums. People not quite happy when they unlock Hawkeyes through the random box. It's between Hawkeye and Thing, but at least Thing has pretty high health. But I like Hawkeye in the sense that I did buy the Kate Bishop costume for Hawkeye on day one full price. So it's a hero whereby I have been struggling for a long time, and thanks for your request, I've looked into it again. In fact, I've because of all this history behind Hawkeyes, I put a lot more effort into playing how to play Hawkeye, gear Hawkeye as well. And just to show you some commitment, I actually have end up to have 2 legendary, because my number shows that there's a better potential with the second legendary, which I've looked in it and level it up again, and it does shows that my number is correct, so that's really good. Just to show you another commitment is that from the power perspective, I really some of these like main power is already maxed at 50, right? So all these close to 50 and 50 so on. So I do put a lot of effort in terms of making Hawkeye. Now Hawkeye is not an easy hero to play. He or she may be quite easy for group play, meaning that when you do not need to worry about the mobs coming towards you. But when it comes to solo environment, you have got to have the kind of skill and agility to play well with Hawkeye. So Hawkeye is a glass cannon that will reward you if you put in time to learn and play well. Definitely not a hero whereby you could just face tank everything. You could. There are some gear options to allow for it, but you probably need some more skill to learn Hawkeye. Be patient with Hawkeye. But Hawkeye's number is pretty impressive, in fact. And I pointed all the gear onto Hawkeye, and it does shows that my effort pays off. So that is really good. Now, if you compare Hawkeye with, say, Wolverine, because Wolverine is a very good single target killer as well. If you subscribe to the notion whereby range power usually is about 30% down from a melee power, you can test it in any heroes that you have. Usually it's the main spender that matter, because the rest of it, you usually have a mix of cooldown and so on. It doesn't really scale, that 30% doesn't really apply that much. But if you take that into consideration, meaning that 30% and main spender is about 1/3 of all your DPS rotation. So you are talking about 10% down from Wolverine, from Hawkeye. So that's how I gauge my hero when it comes to benchmark. So in terms of that, I think Hawkeye is doing pretty good. It is coming pretty close to Wolverine when it comes to the single target environment. And by the way, it's quite hard to test Hawkeye in the training room as well, because I do have some gear that's unaware target. Unaware target doesn't work in the dummy as well. So yeah, that is something to consider. All right. So in this video, I'm going to show you some of the gameplay on how you could play Hawkeye. Hawkeye has a very nice rotation as well, which I really enjoy. I think over time, Gazillion has improved the heroes slowly. One of my main complaint about Hawkeye in the past was about the travel speed, but now you can have the fast travel as well. So that's pretty decent to be able to do that. And and with some of the passive, it is no longer. I don't think you have too much of spirit issue. So that's really good. Hawkeye has an exceptionally high crit and brutal. And let me just show you some numbers, right? I'm sure you can do better than me when it comes to the gearing itself. So pay attention to the physical crit, which is 57 right now, and the brutal, which is like 65 right now. So once I start hitting, and the number will go up, right? So you are talking about 62.1% crit damage, and the brutal is about 65.5%. So these are very, very encouraging number. In fact, because of that, he's one of the few heroes along the caliber of Wolverine, at least from my roster perspective, that is able to use a nullifier as a very, very good option. Usually when it comes to legendary, the gap between, say, the Gungnir grade 70, which is always my benchmark because most of hero can benefit the most from Gungnir. Gungnir to, say, the X 80, you're talking about 6 to 8%, depending on how high you gear your hero. Nullify 70, which smack right in the middle of that. So, instead of like 6% down, I'll show you the number later, it is only about 3% down. So it is very worthwhile if you don't have 1000 OD mark to spend, only have like 300. You can just get a grade 70 nullifier and benefit 97% of a grade 80X. So those are very, very nice. That's one of the reasons why I gear Hawkeye pretty hard, because of that. It's very encouraging. Now, Hawkeye is very good for group. So whenever you see a group and you see Hawkeye come by, nowadays I'm really happy to see Hawkeye come by in a group because I know the damage is pretty, pretty high if the person know what they're doing. In terms of build, I have two builds to share with you. One build is more of the raid DPS build or Cosmic Terminal. It requires a little bit of hot bar dancing, depending on how comfortable you are without the streaking arrow, which is on the F3 for me, which is the one that taunt targets. The unfortunate thing about this streaking arrow is that it, unlike Doctor Strange, the image of icons, it doesn't taunt the boss reliably. So, it is good to have streaking arrow, but you can't really rely on that for your life. So you do have to rely on other maneuver and moving and flash bomb and so on to stay alive. But that's why I say you need skill to play Hawkeye. So I have two builds to share with you. One that doesn't require any hotbar dancing, perfect for Cosmic Patrol. Another one is more for raid build, whereby raid Cosmic Terminal, whereby depending on how comfortable you are with hotbar dancing, you could have a streaking arrow, or for if not, then you can just go in and just go for the kill and see who drop first. So just the two builds to share with you. So I'm going to go through a little bit of in-game videos on how Hawkeye K Bishop plays like, and talk about the gear and so on. So the next bit of the video is about the rotation. All right. When it comes to the rotation, the first thing you need to be aware is that the toggle should be on, the world's greatest archer. So when it's on, then two things happen. The boomerang arrow, which is not really that high of DPS, but it's nice to have a layer on top, and the rocket arrow has 100% damage and an 8-second cooldown, so it's good layer. The only thing about the boomerang works this way, right? It hits and you come back to it, so it hit like a couple of times or 2 times, and and you have something called the explosive arrow, which apply vulnerability. So it is something that you have to apply anyway. So because you buff your power output by another 10%. Then nerf gas arrow used to be energy back in the old day. Now it's physical. That's a very nice damage over time. So you always need to have it. Turn on there. The rocket arrow work this way. You have to charge up and then shoot it. So it charge up to 1 second and then you shoot it. So how well this one is really depends on your timing and the latency as well. Because if you have a little bit of lag, then it may work a little bit differently. This guy is so keen to be so close to the target. So yeah, that is one thing. Another thing that usually I do is the flash bomb on cooldown, because it buffs the base damage 25%. It's like for Asgard if you play Thor. So whenever it's on cooldown, you just use it. It's not really a crowd control breaker in the sense, it immune for it to it for 6.6 seconds with a cooldown 8.8 seconds. So you still have 2.2 seconds of window getting crowd controlled. But the great thing about it is the base damage buff, which is 25%. Forget about stealth, because the moment you hit something, it's not invisible, it's stealth. So the stealth is that the moment you hit something, you come out of stealth anyway, so you can't really rely on that to stay alive. And of course, the signature is the Claymore turret star tag, so that hits pretty well as well. So when it comes to rotation, main inventor of course is a 3 arrow burst. It is by far the best DPS. If you use a cooldown, then this is the. I mean, if you relegate the boomerang arrow and the rocket arrow as a cooldown, then this one becomes the highest single target DPS. All right. So and also have a very nice crit chance as well. It add another 14.8% on top. So it's. I don't think there's any diminishing return for this one, so it is very good to have. All right. So when it comes to rotation, it's always like that. You always start with the flash bomb. All right, and after that you do the boomerang, and then you do explosive arrow, nerf gas arrow, and after that you charge it for rocket arrow. Now, of course, before that you need to dump the signature, and then after that these two will go hand in hand because the moment the flash bomb go off cooldown, this one you should go off cooldown as well. And but this two, you have to do it right before the rocket arrow charging again, because rocket arrow has an 8-second cooldown. This one is about 8 seconds, but this one is about 10 seconds. But you can't really time this one. Otherwise become quite a nightmare to maximize the duration. It becomes very nightmare. So I'm going to do it. This is probably a fast forward version. So you just have to observe these things and see how things go. Okay, so it's like that. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So after that, shoot, and after that, then the flash bomb coming up, flash bomb, then boomerang, and then 1, 2, then charge of the rocket again. Remember to eat med kit to replenish your spirit. And after that, it just come again to this one, 1, 2, 1, 2, and after that rocket again. So very nice. I mean, if you keep this one on, you can go on for a while, and then just make sure that you pay attention to your spirit. Okay, 1, 2. So if you do it the timing right, then everything falls very nicely. And then after that, you can see the signature coming up very soon. All right. So 1, 2, 1, 2. All right. Okay. Yeah. So the problem is that sometimes when I click the button, it doesn't click. So that's one of the issue I have with the latency, or I don't know what happened, because it clearly shows that I clicked the button, but it's just that it doesn't register it. So sometimes I just have to bear with that. But I mean, that is a rotation that you use. Single target is very nice rotation, but when it comes to, of course, cosmic backthrow or cosmic terminal, then you probably need to dump something like a streaking arrow to just make sure that the trash mobs are being drawn to this arrow and not attacking you instead. All right. So I hope that gives you some idea on the rotation itself. I will talk about the build later, the number as well, to just give you overall, what other option do you have and why other option may not be that good of an option. All right, so yeah, sit back and enjoy the rest of the video. All right, Cosmic Curse, Hawkeye, and here we come. Okay, just keep hitting. Have faith that it'll be fine. Keep holding a button. Rocket. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. It's one of the smoother run, I must say. Sometimes it can be quite hard when depending on affixes. All right, Cosmic Mandarin, and here we go. 1, 2, 3. He has totally gone to the other way, huh? So yeah, I mean, it's pretty fast. But these are so-called the softer bosses, and I'm going to show you probably a few more clips here and there, right? Alright, perhaps I do a video on the what is she like when what is it like when she play as the cosmic bounty. So I'm going to do something different here without the taunt. So just to give you an idea how is it like even without the streaking arrow as taunt. You probably will take some damage, and I think some of them will transfer to the team up. But but it's a lot faster, of course, than compared to just keep taunting all the time, because taunting, the whole animation takes a while. But sometimes you have to be careful, and maybe just drop a signature there, right? The signature has a little bit of time as well in terms of the. I don't even need to have that rocket. In terms of the time that it releases, so. Yeah, I mean, if you don't have that, so I mean, there's no big deal. I think all that anyway. So, yeah. I mean, what I'm trying to say is that you probably don't need to have a taunt all the time for the streaking arrow. You could though. What you could do is just stealth in and do a taunt. That's totally up to you. Whether, like for instance, if I can stealth in, do a taunt here. So that is like a taunt. And you can just finish the rest off quite in a safety. But after a while, when you want to do bounty, you just want to want to kill off anything that move fast without the complication. So I mean that is signature again. Just show you, and that's about it, right? I mean Hawkeye is pretty strong, a glass cannon no doubt, but it's all right. I mean it's you don't need to have all this stuff that go on all the time. But you have to watch out for your health and keep moving because it can. Okay, this is rocket, just one shot usually. Just have to. I mean, that's why you need a little bit of like awareness when you play Hawkeye on where all the mobs are and which one and what that is hurting you and so on. So have that general awareness, and I think it should be fine. You don't need to put the taunt all the time. But however, if things get a little bit tricky, of course you could do all this like taunt and so on. That's a boomerang, by the way, just something different. Otherwise, his or her, the 3 arrow burst is just as good. So this is a whole big chunk of there. Just it get finished off fast. So glass cannon, by definition, kills off really fast, but also pretty fragile. So that's the whole balance thing. And you can drop a signature here if you want, and that is about it. Alright, so keep having to. And you can use a rocket. The rocket actually do pretty well. Yeah, that hurts quite bad, by the way. So I mean, it does have some scary moment if you are not careful, right? So this is a rocket. Usually a rocket is like a one-shot kind of thing, but of all these mob, usually you don't really need to get there at all, because by the time you do your main spam, the mobs are already dead. So yeah, I mean pretty relaxing in a sense, but have to be aware what's hurting you and so on. So work your way up. So I think I've got it. Okay, so that is a kingpin. So this one I'm going to drop the shrieking arrow. All right. So like that. 1, 2, 3. Then all right, just keep hitting him. Yeah, so that is about it. The only challenging boss really is the curse. The rest of it is kind of soft, so it's good. Sometimes when you want to rush terminal, you want it fast. Don't want to take too long to do something. Oh, Loki rune, so that's not bad. All right, Loki wave, and it's going to be 5 bosses, so we'll see. You know what? Let me just do a ultimate here because I think it's fun. See this ultimate there. Alright, so there's a bit of time delay, but just keep the flash bomb, and do a rocket. Just apply the damage over time. Flash bomb, rocket in again, and we apply damage over time, maybe on this side as well. So yeah, just keep hitting from afar. That's what melee does. So range does. Alright, reapply. And okay, signature's up. Aim at Loki. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we got Dr. Doom as well there. Okay. The last boss should be quite an easy ride. So yeah, that is the 5 boss wave, Loki. Okay, the Taskmaster wave, that is quite rather straightforward as Hawkeye. Just make sure that I spread the... okay, I need to make sure that I'm staying alive as well, of course. And and by the way, the rocket actually can pierce as well. Sometimes it does. So it's worth to target the somewhere far further, and just see whether it pierces or not. So piercing is one of the things that it does. So you can see that. Okay, let me just target one of these guys up there, and yeah, I mean 4 million just now. All right, very relaxing playing Hawkeye in a cosmic patrol environment. All right, rocket shoot through it, and 5 million again. Very nice. Let me collect my splinter. So now it's facing Taskmaster, which should be somewhere here soon. Okay, so Taskmaster is up. Okay, let me just work my rotation. So no boomerang, but it's okay. Once he moves, we apply the nerve gas. So that is the first order of business. To see whether nerve gas is up or not. Rocket up, in. So that was okay. So that was rocket. Okay, flash bomb again. So I like the Hawkeye because you can just focus on your rotation, alright? Nerve gas when they move out, and reapply the explosion for vulnerability if you want to, but you probably don't need because you got other people around that does it as well, I'm pretty sure. Okay, another signature, flash bomb again. So yeah, I mean, as you can see, rocket in, so you don't even need the rocket. So as you can see, it's pretty relaxing in a group environment playing Hawkeye. And I always enjoy seeing a Hawkeye around because I know that the DPS is pretty high for Hawkeye. All right. Welcome back to the training room. I hope you have enjoyed seeing how Hawkeye is like, whether he or she is your cup of tea or not, is for you to decide. Here for me is to bring up all the various aspects with regard to Hawkeye. So, Hawkeye is a glass cannon. Because he or she can feel a little bit fragile, but that's the whole thing because the damage output can be pretty remarkable as well. In a group play environment whereby the threat is not always on you, that's where Hawkeye truly shine. All right. So this part of the video is talk about the build, about the gear, Omega system, and so on. Just sit back and enjoy. Okay, when it comes to the build, I have two builds like I mentioned to you. So one is the easier build, whereby it doesn't involve any hotbar dancing or hockey dancing. So in this build, there is no boomerang. So I've actually maxed out the streaking arrow as well because in Cosmic Patrol environment, although the boss cannot be taunted, although some mobs cannot be taunted, but it is still good to just lay some of this streaking arrow around so that the other mob can be on it. Whether you need 20 points on it or not, that is truly up to you, because when you look at this very simple build, doesn't involve any hotbar dancing, you are running out of places to put points anyway. So I put it here because it just have a nice bomb timer and whatnot, so I use it that way. Up to you, entirely up to you. But in this build, the essential thing about, let's talk about the raid build, right? Because I think you guys are more interested in things that deliver the kind of power that you enjoy seeing. So in this build, the center around it is a 3 arrow burst. It has, like I mentioned, with the gear at rank 50, it delivers quite hard hitting as well, and it has a crit hit chance on top of it without the diminishing return. So whatever add on it, whatever you have. So I have 60 something. Add another with the gear, I think it's about quite a fair bit. So yeah, I mean this thing crit a lot, brutal a lot. So this is a very good your spender should be focused on that. And the great world credits archer is give you the kind of like range power, damage rating, range power, crit hit rating as well. So these are very nice things that passive you have, and you have the pierce as well. So sometimes, like I mentioned, the rocket arrow, I aim a little bit further, so I'm hoping that will pierce through the whole thing. So you can try it. It's really fun to see the whole thing works. And by the way, you have a trick quiver as well. So some power has a higher chance to call the trick quiver. I am not entirely sure how it works, but I think what it does is that it randomly fire off one of these things. And but even when I don't put any points in the electric and the freeze one, I've seen it frozen as well as electrified before, so I have absolutely zero idea of how it works, but sometimes it just works. What kind of damage, I don't know. So I'm not reading too much on this chance to activate a trick quiver. I just take it as something fun to have. But yeah, I mean the main is the 3 arrow burst, and with this toggle, your boomerang arrow and rocket arrow actually gain 100%. It doubled the damage, but again 8-second cooldown. So the rocket one is the highest one. I'll show you the number later for those of you who are interested in seeing what Hawkeye numbers is like. Boomerang, the number is not that great at all. I mean, I don't really enjoy having it. Having said that, I mean, the boomerang work into your rotation. You will see a better kill time with the boomerang worked into it. You can detect the difference. So I will advise you for raiding kind of situation whereby you don't need to have a streaking arrow. Or even in the Cosmic Terminal rush as well, then you may just want to have the boomerang. But the boomerang requires a little bit of skill to sometimes my cursor doesn't really rest exactly where I think it is. So, boomerang tend to miss. So you need a little bit of training on making this power work for you. All right. So this is all the power that I put into archery. And then after that, on the combat skill is, I don't know, man. This tree is entirely... yeah, I mean, I don't play Hawkeye as melee, but these are some of the options. At first I tried to analyze it, but I realized that it's just really no point to analyze it because I can't really do melee, really can't. So I put 1 point here regardless to get the passive to 10% damage negation. That's great stuff. And also after that, I like this flash bomb a lot, and in fact it is like for Asgard, for Thor, like I mentioned before, it buffs your base damage by a fair bit for a fair duration. As you rank up, the duration get lengthened, the cooldown got shortened as well. So that is very nice to have. I always use it whenever this is on cooldown. And after that, if you run on the... I still advise you to have 1 point on the streaking arrow, just in case you need the situation whereby you need to taunt some of the mobs around. And if you go hot bar dance in Cosmic Patrol, of course, this one will give you a better overall damage of DPS because you have the boomerang. Yeah, but 1 point is sufficient. But in a patrol environment, then you may want to max this guy up. All right, and the nerf gas is pretty nice, and it's a damage over time layer anyway. Then this one, the damage actually very, very low. But if you already run out of points to put in, you kind of hop bar dance to anything else. I mean, you could potentially pick something up, but I just don't enjoy the kind of dancing at all. In as much as possible, I try to keep everything into one hot bar. All right. Then the signature is pretty alright. All right, and I put 1 point here just to protect. Sometimes I just throw in one of these guys for the boss wave if I think that it's a little bit hard for the group to swallow all this damage. All right, so this is overall the build. On the lazy build, or the more no boomerang build is the one that I max out on this guy instead. All right, so whichever way you pick, I'll suggest you just have the tool ready for you. Cosmic Patrol, go for the forget about boomerang because it just. I don't enjoy the kind of hot bar dancing at all, but that's just me. All right. So if you pull back a gear, then things will become 50, or this become 50, like you've seen before, which is very nice. All right. In terms of Omega system, it's very standard for range physical. So 10 point on spin tag, bit on the health and health regen, and 5 point to the super soldier serum. And after that, 5 and 7 is what I'm willing to afford. 80% cost effectiveness, 13 here, and I put in a little bit more. Actually, 4 point is sufficient, but I just remaining point dumper anyway. Hawkeye is very nice on brutal, so 5 point here, get a little bit of health as well. I enjoy that note, and gives suppression for more brutal. More brutal is great. And then I've got 5 points in the range power, that's fine, assault, and point dumper here. My favorite tree, 9 point on fighting here, a bit more on brutal, and that's about it. All right, Omega system pretty standard, and in terms of hero synergy is nothing really. I picked this one because I enjoy the target not attacking you, and that's about it. There's not really anything that I would like to dwell too deep onto this one. Onto the gear part, which is my favorite topic. Like I mentioned, I actually put in a lot of effort on the Hawkeye because I really feel that Hawkeye KP shop, he or she, I just would like to just give it the best and see what outcome of it, and because he or she was very least favorable for such a long time. Although I confess that I'm not necessarily a huge fan of Hawkeye, but I understand that every hero has his own fan base. So I've done the best. I've given Kate Bishop. I like to refer her as Kate Bishop. Yeah. This one is very nice because it has a crit as well as a brutal as well. The roll wise is all right. Yeah, the roll wise is actually not bad. I actually re-roll this thing. Then the gorilla for the. This is very nice for the for any physical hero, especially for Hawkeye when you crit, then you got the physical damage, nice one. And then after that, you could replace this one with the Germ of the Curse if you would like to get a little bit more on the brutal side of it, which I would strongly suggest if you have the kind of gear to spare. Metasensory is nice, just to attack speed as well. Yeah, I mean, if you don't have some of these things, it's not the end of the world. You have those like the crystal as well. I think like the crystal here, you can use it for Hawkeye. It's very nice because it gives you a little bit of like health as well. All right, so Hawkeye needs some health here and there. And let me continue with the gear. Okay, in terms of the let's close off this one. In terms of the medallion, the best of course is going to be Grim Reaper for Hawkeye because of the brutal. I mean, Green Reaper is actually probably one of the best for any physical heroes out there if your brutal and crit is reasonable. But especially so, Hawkeye and Wolverine could benefit the most out from it. And this is a very nice role as well. So I give to her. And yeah. But if you don't have this one, you can get a Shocker. You can get other ones as well. It's not mandatory. All right. Blue Eye as well is nice if you have that. Relix is the Xander because it gives you the range power. 250 you get half the benefit. 500 you get I think 70 to 80%. So up to you how many you want to stack up. I have a lot of heroes, so I need to spread all the love around. In terms of rune word, excuse me, I think this one is reasonable for Hawkeye as a range hero. You could give Hawkeye a Loki, of course, that would kind of like benefit quite nicely. May or may not though, because after putting back all the gears, then the power is already, signature is already 50. So yeah. So up to you, entirely up to you what you want to give the rune word. So I think that's fine. Initially I have Reaver of the Soul. But in fact, because Hawkeye now returns periods when he or she crit, so that is fine. You don't need. I mean, you see how I maintain my spirit, so that's not an issue. This is a very nice industrial city ring. I think is the row is very nice. So that's how much I love Hawkeye. Well, I mean, I love the gear her, in a sense. So in terms of the legendary, I have two. I have one for Gungnir, Hawkeye, and also Nullify Hawkeye. So the story is this. I always think that for non-summoner, the legendary for grade 70 is Gungnir. By and large, that's correct. There's no change on that. But in the event whereby your hero can do 62% crit and brutal, then Nullify become a very good option. I'll show you the graph later for those who would like to stay on for the mathematical part of it. So the grade 70 nullifier is actually pretty close to the grade 80 X or nullifier. So if you're looking at grade 80, so you have two choices, either X or nullifier. They are both the same from a number perspective. So what I like to do some mathematics behind it, and so the maths tell me something, and this time round I want to prove to myself that I'm correct when it comes to the maths, and I took Hawkeye to the dummy, and the timing wise, Nullifier actually beats the Gungnir for grade 70. For grade 80, you have two choices, either the X or the Nullifier. All right, so that one for grade 80. Entirely up to you. I would probably pick the X still because it could be a safer choice if you want to unbind and give it to another hero in the future, because not many heroes can benefit from Nullifier grade 80 or grade 70. All right, so yeah, I'm not going to talk too much about this, but this is a very nice discovery, by the way. I spent a lot of time leveling 2 legendaries for you guys. All right. In terms of the unique wise, you have a few options again, of course. Then I got this trick shot bow because it gives me very nice. I mean, you can read all this stuff here. These are pretty nice stuff, and I use a reserve quiver, all right, and the halberster arrow. I have swapped the boots out. I use Nisanti boots because her boots is something like this. I've got quite a nice row as well. So if you compare apple to apple, then of course her boots has better health. But I really don't need any points in the combat skill power because it doesn't help me anything on the DPS. In fact, because I have Nisanti boots, I've got a lot of 50 everywhere. I got 50 here, I got 50 here, I got 49 here, 50 here. I mean, these are all my main powers, so I'm very happy with Nisanti boots. You can farm Nisanti boots from hoods. So usually I don't suggest you guys go out of the way to get all this unit because it takes time. But for this one, for Hawkeye, I would advise you to farm for Nisanti boots from Hood Cosmic version. Just to set your expectation right, it probably would take you 100 to 150 attempts to get it. So don't get disappointed if you don't get it the first couple of rounds. But if you keep doing it, you will get it. I've got 3 so far, so yeah. I mean, I know you'll get it. I don't play that much. Most of the time, I make videos. Then you have this Hawkeye shades as well. Then yeah, I mean, there's all these things are very nice. You have another option. Instead of the reserve quiver, you can have the Goliath serum. The good thing about Goliath serum is that it gives you a very good health. So if I use a health gear, say for instance I use a health gear, all right. So now it's 23, right? K. And if you use this Goliath, I'm actually getting 26k, which is very comfortable. Even if I don't have 2 costume and I go to Cosmic Patrol, then I would suggest that 21 health is still very pretty comfortable, although it's not the highest you can get, but that is very nice. So my suggestion to you is that get 2 costume, prestige your Hawkeye if you like him or her so much, and just get the one is on health, one is on crit damage rating. But if you can't, then you try to use something like this, all right? And then you try to use something like her own boots. I think give you quite a good health as well. So I mean, these are like 20, 26, 28. So if you have all the team buff on, you'll probably hit 27, all right? So even without it, you get about 22. So yeah, I mean, these are some of the options for you. For the insignia, try to get brutal, try to get crit damage rating. Those are very nice for your Hawkeye because remember, Hawkeye's crit and brutal a lot. Pet wise is always this one. All right, so that is that is all the stuff I would like to talk about Hawkeye. Sorry, I sort of dwell a little bit more on it because I know a lot of people may not like Hawkeye, and I like to provide a lot of help here, how to really enjoy your Hawkeye, various options to swap some gears if you found that your Hawkeye is a little bit fragile. All right, so yeah, I mean the last part of the video is about the numbers. So for those who would like to stay on, please do. Alright, on to the numbers itself. Let's start with something more exciting. You're probably interested to see the graph, I promise. So thank you for staying on. This is where the payoff is. So if you look at the analysis, looking at the various options when it comes to Hawkeyes, Gungnir, Bow, Axe, and Nullifier, you can see that the Axe actually very close to, Nullifier and the Axe AT are at the highest tier, so that gives you the best result. And I still would recommend the Axe to you if you are thinking of paying 1000 OD mark, because you have to have my kind of like crit and brutal to benefit from Nullifier. And also I think in the event whereby you want to pass your legendary around in the future, there's a lot lesser hero that can use Nullifier AT versus the Axe AT. So just something to bear in mind. All right, just don't go crazy over Nullifier, although the number shows quite encouraging. Bow and Gungnir are actually quite similar, so it's at this range here. And very interestingly, the Nullify 70 is very, very close to the Grade 80 Bow. So that is very interesting result. So consider the fact that you spend 300 OD mark on the Nullify 870 versus 1000 OD mark on the Axe 80. You gain another 2.8% up. It's still 2.8%, right? A lot of you, I'm very inspired by the way, by a lot of you who really want the best gear for your hero. It kind of like, make me rethink what I should do for my Hawkeye, and I pour everything I could onto her or him. just inspired by you guys, man. All right. So yeah, I mean, usually I use Gungnir 70 as the benchmark. So usually when it comes to grade 70 and grade 80 legendary, there's usually a gap about 6 to 8%. All right. So which is what you have seen here. So when you see a nullifier come up somewhere here, then you say, wow, is it really so? So I've done testing between a nullifier and a Gungnir based on this percentage difference, and look at the timer. I've done it. I spent hours doing the dummy, and I can tell you this number kind of makes sense as well. So I can extrapolate what I'm seeing here. So yeah, I mean, I could get another 2-3% up if I would like to have an X80. So yeah, and how do I derive all this score? For those of you who has been following all my video, you probably have seen how I've done it. So basically, I look into the base damage and the physical and range and so on. This is easier than the hybrid because hybrid I need to split them. This one I do not need to. Look at the crit component and the brutal component as well, and do the mathematics behind the average damage across various legendaries. So whenever there's a change due to the legendary stats, so this one has no legendary, these numbers are without legendary, but after proc, and all these are legendary applied to that baseline. So for example, like the bow, you can see the like all this, you have the crit hit rating, and after that you have a formula that convert all this into a number. So check out the compendium. It tells you a range of interval between all these various rating to convert. So after you convert, you have to add the 4 and 2, of course, from a synergy, and so on. I've done it for the crit, I've done it for the brutal as well. So whenever there's a change in it, I'll do it. So yeah, I mean, nullifier, I enjoy it, and I've level 2 legendary, and it really showed me that it's working. All right. So in terms of raw power, just in case some of you may want to tweak your build, may not entirely like my build, that's fine, because use me as baseline, and then after that you can improve and do a better job. That's my role here. So I always start with the hero level 60 without gear, no omega point, no hero synergy, no team up gear, no passive. Just basically just look at the hero design as per Scarzilian's design, and the basic is just the baseline. So if you look at all the power here, if you look at all this archery power, 3 arrow bursts may not look the highest here, because there are others as well. Having said that, I mean, 3 arrow bursts does give me the kind of like they have a crit hit rating inside here, incorporated inside here. So I could model it a little bit differently, and it may come out a little bit higher. But I mean, it is not the one of the best result. I mean, things like rocket arrow actually doing pretty well if you want to fully charge them. But because you are going to have the world greatest archery toggle on and make these 2 as a layer, then you have not many options but to pick the 3 arrow burst. All right, but like I said, 3 arrow burst is beautiful because of the extra crit on top, making it crit and brutal a lot of time, and the nullifier kicks into action. So rocket arrow with the world greatest archer toggle will give you a very nice DPS here. It hit like a truck. Why is it so? Because it has a 1 second charge to it. So it is to compensate the kind of animation to it. So the only thing that you need to think of when you do trade-off is that is it a DPS loss? Well, you look at the total damage here, and you look at the damage potentially you get from 3 arrow burst. All right, because one ray of fire 1.3, so you times whatever it is. So 1 second you could have done 24k, right, with a 3 arrow burst, but it gives you a total damage of 102. So take it, right? So take it. And boomerang is actually quite low, but consider the fact that the animation is very low as well. So I don't mind having that as a toggle, having that as a cooldown, and with that, my kill time improved. I can observe that, but it doesn't quite justify the kind of dancing when I'm in a cosmic patrol, which tend to be a little bit hectic. So if you look at DPS difference is quite a fair bit comparing boomerang and the rocket arrow. So it's good to have as an extra layer, but I wouldn't sweat too much if you say, well, I can't take all this dancing, it's just too tedious, I'd rather have a streaking arrow on my hotbar, then yeah, by all means, all right. And then you have the speed loader as well that give you car DPS, but it's really terrible because 2-second animation. Then it will probably be even if it's not DPS loss, it's like a waste of your point investment, I would say. Now, when it comes to explosive and whatever arrow, I'm not really looking into this one. The explosive one, you could use it as a spender, but then you are looking at quite a fair bit of drop when it comes to DPS wise, and you also have a terrible damage per resource, so you lose a lot of spirit very fast. But if you want to use a layer, you could. So that's why I said, even if you don't put maximum point in it, so what? I mean, the DPS is not going to be great if you divide this out by 8 seconds, because that is the 8-second kind of like 8 or 10-second kind of like a duration to it. All right. So nerf gas is something, it's about 8 to 10k DPS on damage over time layer. So just take it. Then the rest of it you can see for yourself whether you want it or not. These are all just shrieking arrow, by the way, has its own function. So but freeze, you can freeze, but boss cannot. I don't know whether boss can be frozen or not. Then you have the signature, so that's fine. A signature give you burst, give you total damage, and yeah. So I hope that's useful to you. As always, drop me a note on Hawkeye, and well, till the next time we see each other. Goodbye.